The welcome everyone to the Good Dudes Beer Club April edition. This week we'll be featuring Cherry Street Brewing from Cummins, Georgia, and our host today is Jim Hyde. He's going to he's visited the brewery on behalf of the Good Dudes Beer Club and is going to has packed us all up beer, shipped it out, and with only one mishap, all the beer arrived safely. So with that, Jim, tell us about Cherry Street Brewing.
All right. But before I tell you about Cherry Street Brewing, though, I got to tell you about some of the history of craft beer in Georgia.
Wait, before you tell us about that, should I have said that we should open our beer now so we can drink while we listen to you?
I think, yeah, you should sort of cock
that.
Oh,
are we not drinking our pre-beers anymore?
Yeah, does that mean I got to chug the pre-beer?
If you want to. I'm going to open my beer, and then I'll raise a glass.
All right.
You got to listen to the story first, Pete. You can't taste it.
Why did you interrupt the story? I was waiting for the story. I don't know what you do with your beer.
I tend to be annoying like that.
So I'm going to finish my Johnny Utah pre-beer.
It only took us 1 minute to derail this time, so I think that's a new record.
to get off topic. All right. You already poured it? And poured it.
Man.
I thought you just said you were going to open it.
This is going in the right direction.
You got to let it breathe.
All right, so Cherry Street Brewing. But before I get into that, Georgia has kind of a short history with craft beer. Up until 2017, craft brewers could not sell directly to the public. So they had tap rooms, but they had to disguise it as a tour. And they had to give number one. They had to give. I think you had the same thing in Texas, Tim.
Yep.
And number one, they had to give the beer away, and they had to give you little tickets, and you could only get a little sample of it. So as a result, back in 2017, we had like 30 total breweries in the state. And then we had bordering states like Alabama and South Carolina and Florida that changed their laws, and they overnight went to like hundreds of breweries and brought in all kinds of tax base and just exploded. So in 2017, we passed, I think it was Senate Bill 89 or something, I think it was called. 85, Senate Bill 85. And what it did is they could sell 3,000 barrels of beer directly to the customers. But also the other part of the law that was holding Georgia back was the percent of alcohol of beer that you could brew. They could only brew up to 6% beer.
Yep.
And one of the things about beer is the more higher alcohol you can get into more flavors and do some more exciting stuff. So we were kind of limited at 6%. So that Senate Bill 85 changed those two laws. So back in 2017, we had like 30 breweries. Today we have like 130 now. And one of the ones that I chose to do was Cherry Street Brewing in Cummins, Georgia. So Cummins, a little bit, I don't know much about Cummins, Georgia, other than it's about 39 miles northeast of Atlanta. It's kind of like a commuter city. There's a big freeway called Georgia 400 that once they put that in, it just became a commuter city. And it's exploding further and further up Georgia 400. Two things about Cummins, Georgia that I know. It's home of Kelly Mosley, one of the finest DSMs we've got in Grundfos. And also Southeast Pump, one of some of your friends there. Mm-hmm. Is actually, they were in Cummins for a little bit. Now they're actually physically in Alpharetta, but they're like 5 miles from this brewery. So the Glovers that are well aware of this brewery. So Cherry Street, one of the things where they got their name, one of the guy that owns it, his name is Nick Tanner. And his father was big in the chicken restaurant business in Georgia. He owned a bunch of restaurants, worked in the business forever, and he opened up this chicken restaurant called Tanner's in Cummins. And his son at the time was out at school, and he went out to school at Colorado State, which is in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I don't know if you guys know that the beer world out in Denver is, kind of where craft beer out in California and out in Denver where it started. So some of the just so happens that the guy that started Cherry Street was roommates with the founders of New Belgium son.
Okay.
So in Belgium, you probably know by the name Fat Tire. They brew that. Fat Tire was one of the originators, and Nick was roommates with the founder's son. So we got into brewing, and he was brewing in the foothills there in Fort Collins, Colorado, and he was living on a street called Cherry Street, believe it or not. So when he moved back home, he started working with his dad at his bar and grill there, and he was kind of in charge of the beer list. So he was known in town for selecting some really good craft beers. And then he because he had his background in home brewing, his dad set him up next door with a brewery, which today is still there. It's called Cherry Street Brewing. Since then, they've opened another one probably about 5 miles away in I can't pronounce it. It's an outdoor upscale mall restaurant. It's called Helly's gonna butcher in the name, Hellyson, but it's one of those, upscale restaurants, stores, brew pubs. There, that's it. Good job, Devin. So that's a really neat place. They've got live music. They've got a stage. They've got a greenway there with turf that you can just hang out, and it's all open container. You can walk around with the beer. That's not the one. That's not the original. The original, I think you probably got a picture of, Devin. There's the original. Home of Rick Tanner's is the dad's. Rick and Nick. Nick's the son that started the brewing business, and Nick's the dad that has the chicken restaurant next door.
Good beer, good chicken.
Yeah.
Gonna need to try some of that chicken next.
Yes. Tough competition down here.
Yeah, let's not hope UPS gets it delivered though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that table right there, that barrel, I sit there every time. I've been there like 5 times, and that's the only table I ever sit at. And I was lucky enough. Sometimes I stand at it.
Kevin's spying on you.
Is that where you met Kelly's little one?
Yeah, I met Kelly's little. He's a little chunker. He's going to be a linebacker for Ole Miss. And those of you guys that know Kelly, Kelly's a big Ole Miss fan. He went to Ole Miss. He grew up in Meridian, Mississippi, and his son looks like he's already could start on the front line. But anyway, so I met Kelly there on Saturday, and I had chose these 2 beers, one of which is the first one we're going to dip into. This is the one that put them on the map. It's a double dry hopped New England hazy IPA. It's called Step and Razor. And I decided to start out strong with an 8%er.
Strong with an 8%er, and then you're going to let up with a what? A 9%?
9%er.
So, yeah. Uber's going to get a lot of business tonight.
Yeah. So I'm just pouring it now. I don't know if you've all cut into it yet, but I even got the Cherry Street glass.
Yeah, I had to pour mine, and then I had to take a sip just so I could make room for the rest of it. So
I'm actually impressed at how much fits in this glass.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, fellas.
Yes, we'll take the first sip. You got to smell it first, though.
So I'm enjoying the and I won't ruin your description of it, Jim, if you've got one, but I'm enjoying the beer profile on the back of the can. It's not typical to see that in Philly. It's pretty interesting.
I agree.
Boom.
Oh, look at that.
I agree that if you're a brewer and we're reaching out to all these folks that brew beer, man, you got to have a story on your can. And for new drinkers, new consumers, just the beer profile, this is a fantastic story that they've got on their can, and I loved it. So that's why I took a picture of it so that we can see what we're drinking here today.
And a lot of people have. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, a lot of people have stories and like funny stories they make up. We've talked about this before on beer cans, and they're fun to read after you've had a couple.
Yes.
They sure
Well,
are.
there's basically two kinds of beer. One kind of beer you can smash the can over your head and have another one. The other one you enjoy and you drink, and it's nice to have a little bit to look at, right?
Well, you'd smash the can on your head afterwards anyway, do it.
I mean, we have this one.
If we drink all four of these, maybe.
I can't see myself. I'm behind the can.
Well, at least you're not in the can.
Yeah. I'm holding back on all the can humor that's coming through.
To be in the can. That's right. So anyway, this is double dry hop New England hazy IPA. It comes in at 8%. Using some of my favorite hops, Mosaic, Simcoe, and Citra. Those are traditional hops that comes in at 8%. Ooh, I've got a little feedback there.
No, that was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So I think we talked last month about the difference between West Coast and New England IPAs, and I just kind of wanted to. This is why I like the New England IPAs. I really like these Mosaic, these Simcoe, these Citra hops. Those are three of my favorite hops. They're really floral, fruity, really just good tasting hops.
This one's a little bit more pinier. Is that because of the dry hop? Or?
Yeah. So from what I know, the main difference there's two differences with New England's and West Coast. One of course is the bitterness. So like this is only 50 IBUs, but they use a crap load of hops. You see three different hops in there, and there's a lot of them that they put them in there. But what they do is they dry hop. They don't boil the hops. So like on the West Coast, you boil the hops. So you get it to boiling, and what that does when you boil the hops, it does this process called isomerization or something, and it brings the bitterness out. And so your West Coast ones that we hope you're going to be profiling, they're going to have like 80, 90 IBUs. Where these New England guys come in at like 40, 50, 60 lower IBUs, but it's become very popular because I love the bitterness. It's kind of an acquired taste, but I remember my wife at the time when she was Coors Light all the time, and the first time she finally tasted and smelled, she's like, "Oh, that smells so good," and it was West Coast, and she'd take a sip and she spit it out. I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "The bitter." So then she had her first New England IPA, and she just was hooked because it cut down that bitterness, but it brought out the hoppiness of the hops. So
am I tasting is it the bitterness that I'm tasting that I'm calling piney, or is it the actual?
I think it's the bitterness. I was thinking
it might be
grapefruit though.
Bitterness.
So I don't know which of those hops does it. I don't know enough about it, but
yeah, and go ahead.
I would say it says flavor is juicy and tropical, so I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know what piney tastes like, but I could see more of the.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because piney is more of a smell, but because your mind, I think, is programmed to smell, you're like, "Oh, I taste pine trees," but I think it's more you're smelling it.
You're right. I think it's the bitterness.
I really like this because the last time we've profiled something, when we had Mosaic hops in it, it was more of a citrusy flavor. And this really is cut down where I don't get it because that's not my favorite type of beer. I like beer for beer,
that's funny that you say it's cut down a little because Pete and I have always had this argument about he thinks that in the South we use too much malt, and malt's a very, it has to be in beer. That's what gets the starch and the yeast and starts to make it into alcohol. But if you use more malt, it takes away from some of that bitterness as well. So that plus the fact that the New England the breweries in New England are using a boatload more hops.
And Chris Ireland from Grunpost just chimed in from the cheap seat, so to speak, and he likes to keep his pine trees in air fresheners in his car, not in his beer. Sorry to derail the conversation there.
No, you got to have peanut
comment.
gallery comments. Yeah,
Definitely. This goes down too smooth, too easy though. That's
I know. Can you believe
that's
that's 8%? That's an 8%er.
No.
That's the trouble with a lot of these. Now, I said there were two things about New England IPAs. The other thing you notice is the haze. Like the West Coast IPAs, you can see through them; they're clear. These are hazy, and that haziness is caused typically by some of the proteins they use. The protein malts, like wheat and oats. These are high protein malts. And they serve two purposes. Well, they serve a purpose is they help keep that floral and keep that bitterness away. But one of the side effects is it creates this haze. And it's become kind of like the description for the beer, the hazy IPA.
Yeah, and that's Jim. You and I talked about that.
We're seeing a huge influx out here in the West Coast in Seattle of that hazy IPA. Everybody, because we have so many West Coast IPAs out here, all of a sudden the hazy IPAs are becoming popular out here.
Well, that's the problem here on the East Coast now. We can't find any West Coast IPAs.
No, hardly anyone's brewing them. Yeah.
Yeah.
just call me. I'll look you up. But Pete's been waiting for his for a year, so.
I have been. I think Devin's drank my 12-pack like 7 times.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right there.
And Jim, not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about trying these after the IPAs from last time, and I'd say this is better, much better.
Whoa.
Sorry, Pete.
Wait,
that's okay, Tim.
But I love the
pretty good.
Mass Riot we had.
Tim's from Texas. I don't take that. You know that.
Oh.
That doesn't even.
Wow. Pete, I'm curious what you think.
Worse than Georgia. I'm liking this a lot. Because I do pick on all
Tanner just confirmed Tim is from Texas.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, it's still going back to last month. We still have the winners of the hair contest are Tim and Sherzad. So we confirmed that from our social room.
No changes there.
Yeah, you said Tim, right? Not Jim.
Yeah, no, I didn't say Tim.
Yeah. So the going to the brewery, I almost changed up, but it was too late because I sent all the beer on Thursday and I was there on Saturday. But so this was the beer that put them on the map. This won all kinds of awards. The brewery itself in 2017 won the U.S. Beer Open Grand National Champion for like the Grand National Champion of the U.S. Beer Open, and they've got a boatload of awards. I mean that my dad drank his beers.
He's defending me and my promised beers.
But anyways, when I was at the brewery, they had a little brother and a big brother to this beer. The little brother had like 5% alcohol, so it had a little less hops. But they had one with a big brother that had like Tim's. Yes, I agree, Chris Ireland. I keep telling
he was hoping it's not NPR. He was hoping more like sports broadcasting, but that's okay.
I'll take it too.
Super high definition.
I can tone it down and do the
coming in from the bathroom.
do the Alec Baldwin, SNL skit.
Are you talking about Betty?
The
different skit.
Different skit. Sorry, Jim. We're ruining the story.
No.
Is it the 8% kicking in already?
They had a big brother to it. It was like Irie, like Rastaman, Irie, double dry hopped IPA version of this. That was like 9.5%. And I was like, man, it would have been interesting to get the same beer, but a different version of it. So instead, I went with this other beer.
Yeah, that's the skit. No one can resist
Chris.
I think Chris spelled that right too.
It's
It's
a holiday delicacy.
Just love the sauce.
That's a great skit.
All right, so that's teased me up to talk about this beer and how it tastes.
Yes, now I'm curious. Just for everybody that's listening out there, Pete always says that All two people of you all. Pete
It's
says
pronounced y'all.
Y'all.
There you go.
What about all y'all? I thought
Here's
if it was plural, it was all y'all. It's just y'all.
Y'all.
Here's the problem. I grew up in upstate New York, so I
y'all.
use you guys. You
guys.
You two youths.
You got a 68 Pontiac. Deposit traction.
Yeah. So
Positive
Pete's
traction.
always, every time Pete comes down here or we send him beer, he's just like, you guys don't know how to make New England IPAs. You make malt bombs but it's tough competition because they invented it up there in New York and New England. And we're going against, comparing it to like the original Heady Topper in Vermont, The Alchemist, other half brewing in Brooklyn that does some amazing stuff. There's just a ton of companies up there. So they do it the best. They created the genre, I guess I'll call it. So I'm trying to prove to Pete that we can do it down here. So Pete, what do you got?
No, I like it. Well, and I remember you, Kelly had introduced me to Cherry Street. It was like a one-off he brought to a meeting. It was a big crowler, and I think it was a triple IPA. So I don't know, 10, 11, 12%. It
was like OG, like OG or something
like that. It was, crazy beer. But you weren't there, Jim, and we tried it, and I think we sent you a video, and I was like, oh my God, this is the first good Georgia beer.
You did say that.
And it was I'd put it up against any other, hazy New England IPA. And this is good too. I really like this. It's not a malt bomb by any stretch. It's very good. And I think the bitter gives it that, it's the fruitiness that I like in the New Englands. Of course it's hazy, which I don't know what that does to it, but I'll take it. But I like the bitter, the piney grapefruit, whatever the hell it is. I do sort of like that. So this is a good one, Jim. Thank you.
It really is.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. This goes on the list.
Salud.
Cheers to Cherry Street.
Yep.
It's not better than Mass Riot, though. Sorry, guys. Tim.
So at the end of this, we might have to have a beer off. Just think.
That's a good idea.
We might have to
remember.
Well, yeah, because I think now, Tim, you liked not the Mass Riot, you liked the other one. Because it was closer to Zima, right?
Pale ale.
And yeah,
closer to Zima.
I'll be honest. I drank all four of those last week, last time, and I don't exactly remember which one I didn't like.
We have it on video.
Precisely my point.
And I don't know if I like them or not because UPS still has them somewhere.
Yeah,
there you go. That's it.
More fine trees.
I remember one I was definitely not a big fan of. The other one was better. But
yeah,
I would say this one I would say this one's better than both. Sorry, Pete.
That's
sorry,
okay.
Not sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
I'm glad you're liking that, and you put the Modelo away. So
Modelo's not away. It's a chaser.
It's a chaser. I was going to say
like a nipple on the top of it, like a baby one.
If you have to have a beer chaser, you're in trouble. I will send you guys. I just discovered the Elysian limited edition painting. I'll send you guys. It's called Velvet Painting. It's an Elysian double IPA, and I'll send that to you this week.
It's a beer.
It's a painting. It's a beer. Gosh darn it!
You're talking about it. I was like, it's a painting.
Yeah, I sent it. It's called Velvet Painting, and it's a limited edition Elysian brewing version. It's one of the beers I just picked up this weekend. That's fantastic. So I'll send you guys a copy of that, so to speak.
So, instead of talking about my beer right now, I'm going to look at my T-shirt because I got a story. I just see it.
Great American Beer Festival 2018.
One of my really good customers, Ferguson, had a event here, believe it or not, where customers had to qualify for points and they got to go to the beer festival, which was a lifelong dream of mine. And now here I got an invite through one of my customers. So the funny thing about this is there's 4,000 breweries in the convention center there in Denver, Colorado. And it's been a lifelong dream for me to go to this thing. I finally get to go to it. And there's all this pre-hype. Part of the event was you had an hour in a meeting room with a couple brewers came in and talked about some medals they had already won. Somebody from the beer festival came in and gave us some tips and some pointers on how to navigate 4,000 breweries. And so they're going through all this stuff like, it's going to be intimidating as soon as it opens. You're just going to want to go all over the place. So you got to make a plan. You got to make a list. I did all this. I wrote all these notes down and I had all this great plan. We got in there and I did about 4 breweries in a row. And then I started seeing other things and I just abandoned the plan and went all over the freaking place. It was a blast. But
Squirrel.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Yeah. It is hard to focus in that because it's just like you see one brewery after the other and you're just like, oh,
that's got to be a serious hangover the next day.
There is there is a festival called Hopscotch up in Vancouver. That is a little messy. So think about it, hops and scotch.
Oh, like literally scotch.
Oh wow.
Oh, I didn't get that right away. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you just
That's a bad idea.
Hopping between.
Yeah, that is a really bad idea.
Yeah.
And it actually worked quite well because it's a couple of days. So you could choose to, if you're smart about it, and if you're not smart about it, that's a different discussion. If you're smart about it, you could sort of play it cool. Go to the hop section one day and Scotch section the other day.
Ooh,
Yeah,
sounds like a long weekend.
Is it outdoors or indoors in the convention center?
The one time I went, it was outdoors. It was great.
Yeah.
Sherzad, I don't know if you ever came or if
How
it
did you
was
fill that up so
Look at
quick?
that.
nice. So I don't know if you ever went to it while you were in Houston, but the Houston Beer Fest downtown was pretty cool. They basically like blocked off part of downtown and the Houston breweries are there. I think we're 50 or so, but I think it was probably 20 at the time. But even that was overwhelming to try to go around and pick which breweries you wanted to taste out of 20. I mean, I can't even imagine 4,000. But I mean,
it was like,
and now here's my mind, like, how does the convention center handle, a bunch of guys going to drink beer and then hopefully they had a Grumpfoss booster pack in there to be able to handle the flow of, everybody going to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom 100 times.
4,000 beers. Yeah.
So what we should do is offer like the super flush. Have you ever heard about the super flush?
oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
So we
yeah.
should go do the super flush at the convention center before the beer
Just
festival.
to make sure.
Just to make sure.
So you know what was the driving factor? We did the booster system at the George R. Brown Convention Center here in Houston. You know what the driving factor was? Their test for whether or not it was enough? It was the quilting festival.
What?
Oh really?
Quilting, yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
like
Oh, we
this,
lost Sherzad there. He jumped on the festival.
it's this massive amount of people coming together to, I guess, quilt. I'm not really sure exactly what they're doing in there. Quilting supply. I don't know, but apparently that was their biggest event, and as long as the system kept up for that, they were good.
Wow.
Good enough. There you go.
You got the
Yep.
good. You got the good yarn. You got the good yarn. I don't know.
Have you seen this new cross stitch technique?
Look at the speed and the accuracy on that gal.
That's going to be Tim's first gig is hosting a knitting conference and being the MC for the whole thing.
Hey,
You and Jesse Firestone, he's got Food Network covered, so you can start with cross stitch.
the whole niche market out there. Hey, I mean, if that's their biggest market, I mean, I'm game.
Wide open.
Yeah.
Minute Maid Park is like literally across the street, so I mean, that's a good start.
That's brilliant.
I think Chris had something to say about the knitting conference.
What is that subliminal message there?
You guys were talking about, the start of blah, 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 something about start a beer, and I just had to throw the hometown logo up there.
Oh.
Rainier Brewery. and
hey,
I'm gonna get into when it's my turn to present beer, we're gonna be in
you're going to send us Rainier and Oli.
Yeah, I am going to send you some Rainier and Oli, and I'm gonna send you into a part of Seattle that's a subsection of Seattle and Georgetown Brewing and Georgetown, and Rainier Brewing Company is the heart of Georgetown, and so it'll have a ton of little spit-offs, so that's why I sort of throw that out there.
Rainier beer.
Yeah, the 70s, 80s commercials were fantastic, and nationally you probably didn't see them all. I'll try to find some of those where they have the running beer bottles and the motorcycle.
What do they call those things? The Rainier and the Wild, the beers?
Yeah, basically, because on the side of Mount Rainier, if you look at it at a certain time of year, you can see an actual elk head. It's full rack, the glaciers form an elk head, and on the south side of the mountain you can see it every day, and so we're lucky out here. And then so the Rainier beer heads, if you will, with the walking legs, they had a big beer bottle over a bunch of skinny legs, and they'd walk around like elk, just in their natural habitat.
Those were the commercials. They'd be like the Rainier beer in their natural habitat.
Quilting is life. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. Quilting festival.
Yep.
We have a hometown fair, fairgrounds in the town of Puyallup where I live at, and
do the Puyallup.
Yeah, do the Puyallup. Yeah, the two biggest events. Would you guess what they are? Besides the actual fair.
Some kind of cow tipping and
oh, come on, dude.
And cow milking.
Beer tasting.
South Seattle.
Beer tasting.
Some sort of a salmon run. I don't know.
Either weed or salmon.
Holy crud! The Northwest represents well. we tip cows. We smoke dope. What else do we do?
No, smoke dope, then tip cows.
Music?
Yeah.
Play good music. Play good music.
Yeah, the two biggest events besides the fairgrounds down there are the Sewing Knitting Festival.
Here we go. Sewing and quilting and what the heck?
And the gun show.
Oh, wow, really?
There you go.
All right.
The gun show.
There you go.
The gun show.
Hang on, let me.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he's fully represented today.
He showed his guns and calling you to the basement. Good luck with that.
You can't see my. I'm trying to rep the basement.
Hey, speaking of the basement, Pete, if all goes well and pandemic and we're going to Vegas this year.
Vegas, baby. 2022.
You and I may have to.
Vegas.
I don't know any local Vegas beers, so we may have to take a side trip to explore.
I say we include California in
We can't.
the Vegas local area. Yes, we can.
Take over blocks of
No,
downtown.
we cannot.
There has to be Nevada beers.
Well, Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, there we go.
Are we going to bring this to Vegas though? We have to do a live show.
I think we broadcast one live from.
Tim's bringing his stuff, right? He's doing
my stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't want to stop talking about Jim's beer, but I do want to talk about this. We could do it in the booth, like in the upstairs thing, if we have that, like to kick off the basement, or we could do something totally separate.
So how are we going to get down?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll get one of those elevator things to sort of slide us down the stairs.
No, that's how projects happen. You bring a crane, you pick him up, and you put him down.
I'm sure there's some sort of working equipment on the floor of ASHRAE that could get us off to the top of that thing.
That's a good one.
We'll intertwine some mountain climbing and we'll like rappel down, and that'll be like that'll increase our viewership.
The other option is a trampoline up there.
You jump on with the crane.
You've seen the crowds at the basement. We can like just crowd surf right into there. They'll catch us and move us around.
So the last ASHRAE in Orlando last year, I did some videos of the different booths, and I actually wrapped it up on the top of the Grumfoss booth. It was pretty cool.
You did? Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool view from up there.
It is a good view, definitely.
Remember that show though? It was like a month before COVID, and it was like, I remember one booth from like China was just like, sorry, not here because of COVID, and I remember thinking, oh, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
All about.
What are they crazy? Oh my God! Little do we know, a month later.
We had a pretty good event in Orlando, and Vegas beer's got to be better than Orlando beer. That was really hard to find good beer for that thing.
Start the research now. I think we should be able to find something there.
I think we should meet in Vegas and just
do some live remote.
Some pre-planning. That's what this could be. We could do the show as a pre-plan and a tasting for the beers that we select for the basement.
Yeah,
I was thinking we could have the finale of 2021 there, right? All the beers we've tasted, we should just ship them all out there and just sort of say, all right, let's do this.
Oh, okay. Man, how long are we going to be in Vegas for? We have to be a couple weeks for this trip.
A month.
Might need an Uber.
I don't know.
I mean, you know.
The last time I was in Vegas for the last Ashtray, I was there for 5 days, and my body basically shut down at the end. And I was not happy that I was sick when I got home.
I always get sick.
I came home early.
Pete, did I send you? It was like an Instagram or a Facebook post on. There's some new district it's called the Brewing District in Vegas, and they're like going to open up all these breweries in this one part of town. It's going to be called the Brewing District.
No, I don't think so.
So there's hope. I sent it to somebody.
Well, I'll ask. My brother might know about it too. I can ask him.
Yeah.
Nice. So are we? I'm almost finished
here.
Yeah.
Trying not to finish.
The other one.
16. So what is it with the 16 ounces?
They're the best.
I think that's a COVID. I think that's a COVID thing. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No,
but,
I think it has to do with them because you think about price per can. I think they, kegs are obviously the cheapest thing that they can, fill a whole shit ton of beer into there. And the 16-ounce cans, I think they can. But you're leaving. All right, have fun. See you later. Love you.
Bye, Katie.
Now it's Abby. She's leaving.
Oh, bye, Abby. Love you too.
Yeah.
So you do a 4-pack of 16 ounces versus 6 of 12.
And it's a little more profitability for the brewery, and
this is a good golf beer,
and it's less volume.
Yeah,
it is. But the other thing is weird that bottles disappeared.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to find a bottle these days.
Well, because cans are better for the craft beer to keep them fresh.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah. I actually like drinking out of cans better.
I do too.
Tim likes it in the can.
I do, but Devin, you must play golf in milder weather than we do, because there's no way I would want to take a 16-ounce beer out of.
No, you need like a 4-ounce can.
There isn't a koozie in the world.
I have a cooler.
There's a koozie in the world that can keep a beer cold that long.
Usually I have these things that are embedded called Yeti coolers, and I have one sitting right next to me in my golf cart. And I know last time I tried to be cool and say, one per round, 1 per 9, there's a Yeti cooler full of air. Usually when I go golfing, and that rides along with me, and then they keep them at 42 degrees. And
so what one of this one?
Yeah, I gotta go get mine. Mine's in the fridge. Hold on.
All right. Yes. So this is
we're doing this one. Yeah.
Give me a second. I gotta get it out of my fridge.
IPA?
Just another IPA. I think that's what we're going to. So we're as long as everybody's
volume 4.
So
I was worried that you'd had to send that one to me because of the UPS mishap.
No, that's what I was actually thankful, because it's my youngest son's birthday tonight. So if I would have had to drink all 4 of these, I already had plans for my wife to pick me up tonight. And
nice.
after the broadcast here,
I just have to crawl to bed from here. That's okay.
No,
I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone comes up with the flavor profile that's printed on the can.
Interested without looking at it?
Yeah,
I haven't looked at it yet.
No one has used that adjective yet. I'm curious to see if.
Dang.
Oh, see, that's a big one for the West Coast IPAs. Sierra Nevada has
are you talking about
Thankful IPA. That's one of their spring or late winter releases.
It's just not something I would have thought.
Hops and somebody smart would tell you all about hops and marijuana. There's similarities in the two plants, like they're like cousins or something, maybe second cousins. I don't know.
They are.
So
they are. So
I'm so disappointed, because I actually had a graphic on here of a dancing IPA can, and I couldn't get it to load. So sorry about that,
guys. I'm texting with a buddy before Jim tees up this next beer about we'll get together, a couple families tomorrow night and have some dinner and drinks. And so at the end of it, we're saying, we'll have the wives talk. And tomorrow sounds good. And I said, well, for tonight, I'll send you a link to the beer cast. You can be, guest number 3. And he's usually really good at texting back. As soon as I text him, he comes right back. He hasn't answered me. I think out of politeness, he's sort of ignoring my offer to send him the link to the beer cast. Which,
So I'm wondering if maybe we should have a way for the our tens of fans to be able to sign up and get the beers that we're tasting beforehand, so they can drink them with us.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
good idea, Tim.
UPS will get it there, no problem.
As long as there's no construction.
We got to start doing plugs for FedEx on this podcast.
I mean, think of that though. We've done this twice, and we're doing 4 packages. We're 0 for 2.
Well, I'm gonna say 0 for 3. When I guys sent you the things for Christmas in December, it was chaos just to get the growlers out, and I was so panicked that they were going to get there on time, and I think some of you guys got them at the last minute, and it doesn't, and part of it's pandemic, so you got to just be understandable about that kind of stuff. But it's amazing when you punch in, it's going to get here to whoever's house at 9:15, and it doesn't show up. And it's like construction. I don't care what it is, but
Yeah.
So for all the people listening out there, oh my gosh, Pete, Krista's calling me again for the 4th time.
Oh my God. Do you want me to text her and tell her to cut it out?
All the thousands of people listening. This is what Devin's talking about. He sent this to us for Christmas. It's an actual growler keg.
It's a pressurized
incredible.
growler.
Yes,
pressurized growler from Growler Works. If you guys, it's a company in Oregon, and WERKES for Growler Works, and they're amazing. And you put about 67 of those in your fridge, and you just have it on tap all the time.
Just get through one. 128 ounces.
And the cool thing is, even if you have something like this, you can just throw a couple of them in there and put them out.
Jim,
on the
you
patio.
proved it's at least 2 weeks. That thing tasted as good as the first one. Tasted as good as the last.
That's the best thing about that, Devin.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Devin, you forgot Devin, in your description, just another IPA. You forgot a period. Shouldn't that be 4.9% ABV?
I know. I honestly, I was gonna mention that because it looks like only we're drinking a couple Trulies or whatever. I should have had a dash or something like.
Now we're
talking. Or it's a 49% ABV. I mean, that's okay too.
Only
brewery type thing, So
here's the trouble. Here's the trouble with this guy. It's a little more alcohol, and I think I'm tasting it.
No, Jim, this is damn good, man.
This is
really
really good. I like it. Scary, definitely scary.
Okay, so
scary.
I think, don't you guys think though, the original I don't want brand names because they might sponsor us later, but the original high volume alcohol, come on, we're hoping for sponsors. The original high alcohol volume beers were fizzy and they just had a different taste. They just were like, I don't want to go there just because of the simple taste. And
those were the malt bombs. Yeah.
Now the high alcohol volumes are smooth, which
they're
is
much better.
Scary.
Troublesome.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell you guys, the growler, we did. One of my neighbors made a saison from a beer kit and put it in the growler. It was actually
in this
good.
Growler. In this one?
Yeah. He got another one for himself and the one that I had from Devin, and he put it in there, and it actually tasted pretty damn good.
Wow.
So next time maybe we'll ship those.
Make your own beer, nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so this beer, I don't know a lot about it other than what attracted me to it with a couple things. They do a series called Just Another IPA, Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 4th volume. And one of the other breweries in town, Wild Leap, was the other one I was thinking of doing. They do a series called the Alpha Abstraction, and they're up to like the 15th volume. And basically it's using some experimental hops. So like this one uses a little less Citra and Mosaic, but it uses something Strata, which is not an experimental hop, but there's I don't know much about this hop, but it's called HBC 630. So that's what these series do, is they feature a new hop that's just up and coming and kind of brew with it to try to see what it does. Not bad at all.
That must
It's
be
an
where
interesting.
the dank comes from. The new one.
It's an interesting situation, though. There's a few places that are trying to do this now, right? I mean, I saw Henhouse does the stoked, which is they
Volumes.
take different. Well, they take different sort of hops together, and then the way they sort of make it the same, and they just put different hops in there. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Like the hops are called whatever, like you said, HBC 630.
60, yeah. The thing that was interesting to me, speaking back on the hops for a second, because I'm in love with hops, the fact that the New England IPAs tend to use the Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, Idaho 7. These are all the hops that are traditionally in New England IPAs, but yet they're all grown in the Northwest. They're all grown in Washington, Oregon.
Yeah.
But those are the hops that are featured in driving this growth of the New England IPAs.
Yep.
And somebody asked me, I think you asked me, Pete, do we grow hops in Georgia? I researched it as much as I could, and they said people have tried. It's too humid down here. Probably
warm and
similar
humid.
in Texas.
Because I think the original is Germany, right? So it's the other northern German climates. And New York actually used to have a history of it, and then I think they got away for other crops. And now with driving craft breweries booming, there's a lot of laws. There's tons of tax breaks in New York if you use New York ingredients. So it's driving farmers to plant that stuff.
And it's odd in Washington. We have a small little section of our state that in the Yakima Valley that has a majority of the world's hop producing facilities in it. It's great for pheasant hunting, if you know the farmers. And but it's odd that one little area and why it can't be reproduced.
Yeah. Well, there's a famous beer in Chicago, Zombie Dust, which I know, Jim, you and I have talked a bunch. Shirazad's nodding his head. And Indiana, Munster, Indiana.
That's a good one. Idaho is a real serious one.
Yeah, Idaho, big one, and just across the river, right? But that guy used to talk about how he would go out and it's almost like hop futures. So to make sure that his beer stayed consistent and he could keep up with the demand, he'd go out to whatever Idaho or Washington State, Oregon brewer or a hop grower that he had, and he'd sign 10-year contracts, volume contracts, just to make sure he could keep the beer tasting the same. So it's interesting.
We're actually doing a mobile boiler facility where it's a modular boiler plant with Grundfos pumps in it for a contract brewing facility right now. So, what did I mention? The boiler hops. What did I win there, Jim?
The Grundfos.
Oh, okay. Ding, ding. What about if I mentioned Kelly Mosley?
Ding, ding, double ding.
Double ding.
Big fan of Kelly Mosley. Big fan. So
we're actually doing one for a contract brewery right now that is all they do is take people's recipe and try to replicate it. To your point, Pete, is that to make the recipe the same all the time. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to send us. I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous.
Why are you nervous? It won't be a package of Rainier, Coors Light, Olympia.
That's what I'm nervous about.
Devin, that would be the best package yet.
Yes. I do have something else.
I'm looking forward to No Label, man. I'm looking forward to No Label. Let's go.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I got a No Label shirt that I can wear for that one. Sorry, I was eating dinner.
It was we had a great time with those guys a few weeks ago. I recorded a podcast episode out in the tap room, and of course, start setting up. They're like, "Hey, you want something to drink?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take a beer." And then
twist my arm.
Yeah. And then a little bit later, we start recording, and we're doing the tastings, and they keep bringing more. And usually, the way that I do the podcast at the very end, I do the introduction so I can kind of like sum up what we talked about. And normally that works great, except when you've done a tasting with like 6 or 8 beers in an hour and the table is just full of empty glasses. I'm like, well, it's going to be pretty obvious when I did the introduction on this one. So
I think I should remember has to take a drink every time someone says hops. Chris is on it. He's on it.
Chris is like Robin Givens to Devin's Howard Stern.
I don't know, with the 9% beer, that seems like a very dangerous game.
But you know, that doesn't taste like 9%. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Well, Devin was talking about the old 9%ers, and I think like Dogfish Head, which I don't know if you would get that on the West Coast, Devin, but that their 90-minute was like a classic 9%er double IPA before there were a lot of them, and that was a malt bomb.
Like malt bomb,
but it was in a good way. It was boozy.
Taste the alcohol there, boozy, like
because I don't think they were adding hops like they did, so it wasn't really balanced anymore. You push the malt side of it. You got the alcohol up there, and it was a delicious beer because they use good ingredients and they're good brewers. But it was like a lopsided. You just have one of them. It's not like you sit down and, 9%, you wouldn't drink that many, but it was sort of like a special occasion type thing. This, if my liver would allow it, I could drink 3 or 4 of these. I'll pass out at the end of it, but it's just good beer. It just happens to be 9%.
Nice.
So the point is to not think about the 9%.
That's it. It's all mental, mind over matter. Yeah.
So I got one more thing I wanted to say about Georgia brewing, in not necessarily Cherry Street, but just Georgia in general. It was pretty interesting when I saw. So we were 48th in per capita breweries, craft breweries. We're 48th out of 50 states. So that's a little embarrassing. But as far as production of barrels of beer, we're 4th. And a couple
impressive.
Two things do that. One of the breweries we had, which was one of our originals, was called Sweetwater. I don't know if you ever heard of Sweetwater. They're now all over the place, but for the longest time, they made like unpasteurized beer, so it could only distribute so far. So they put us on the map, and they make a beer called 420. Believe it or not, it was just passed 420, right? What is today? 424.
What do you mean? What's 420?
I'm not sure I understand that.
It's a highway in Atlanta.
I'm not getting the reference.
I was telling Pete, I read something the other day that we know what the reference is, but they claim that there was going to be a construction of a road called Georgia Route 420. Yeah, right.
So, Jim, does that beer pair well with pizza? Doritos,
pretzels, Doritos,
onions,
donuts.
So I don't know if you saw IAPMO is hosting a webinar about indoor cannabis farming, and they're hosting it on 4/27. And I was, I'm pretty sure you missed the date on this one.
Yeah.
Like, how did you not do this the week earlier?
Yeah. So
it was funny though,
because it's
you were like right on it. As soon as they put it on, you were like, hold on.
Yeah. Come on. So somebody in the marketing department missed that one.
2 more things about this. So Pete, I saw the other day, Sweetwater got bought by a Canadian cannabis company 2 years ago.
There you go.
There you go. So there's that, but also for the production and why we're number 4 in production is Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, Coors Light, Miller Lite have massive production because of the distribution hub in Atlanta. So
why do you think that a beer company got bought by a cannabis company?
Because of the relationship with the hop itself. It's a close cousin to, I think Pete mentioned it, close cousin to.
No, that's not why.
No, it is though.
No, the same. I think you're going to start seeing Anheuser-Busch and InBev and those people like doing marijuana, buying up weed too, because it's just recreational beverages, an expansion of that, whatever. However,
the amount of infused.
Yeah. They want to, you want to own it all. You want to have the spirits, the beer, the weed, the whole thing.
Gummy worms.
9% by volume edibles.
9% with some dissolved solids. Oof.
Nice.
All right,
Yeah, it'll
so
take hazy
that'll be a
IPAs to a new level.
I'd say
That'll be a
That's right.
different
Hazy
podcast.
after or before.
so.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go to Washington or Colorado or one of these places and maybe do like a variation of the Good Dudes beer drinking club.
New York, our governor,
Yes.
thanks to sexual harassment lawsuits, has legalized weed.
Well, there's that he's got going.
There's that. Yeah.
That's great.
Take the
That's
spotlight
great.
off a little bit.
Hey, that's
That's
a
awesome.
pretty weird way to celebrate the passage of a law, but
Did I say this? I shouldn't have talked about sex.
You're talking politics now, Pete. You said you weren't going to do it.
No, I took a jab at our Democratic governor. He's in trouble. He's created his own mess. But he, I like that he legalized, though.
Speaking of jet,
Pete, where are we going next? What's and hey, Jim, this is both beers.
Jim,
quality.
great
Yes.
job, Jim.
It was
Great.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's
I
call.
know I voiced my concerns beforehand seeing
I did too. Yeah.
8
two
and 9.
IPAs, 8-9%. But these were good. I would
Smooth.
drink these. I would drink these again for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to say though, this is part of the Good Dudes Beer Club conversation. I didn't get my beer, but I have beer. For a
I
good
know.
reason.
Thanks to
So
Jim.
I appreciate that. That is a big one. Thank you for that.
You
was
know what?
unreal.
I'd like to say it was awesome that Sherzad didn't get his beer, and you guys all rallied. Everyone rallied. Like, hey, how
I
well,
didn't.
Pete? No,
I said, no, I'm not sending my beer.
But you live like in a
You did,
cabin in
you did.
Maine, so I mean,
You
look
did.
at you. You got,
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
there's
Vermont.
no way.
it's like I'm sure there's a deer behind you at some point.
Yeah.
Or
If I
And not
sent it out
only
of
that,
Syracuse,
Tim-
you'd have had it in June.
Not only that, Tim was helping the situation, saying, "I'm going to send it, no problem." He's like, "What are you doing? Keep your own beer."
I did, the only
Yeah,
reason I was.
I have 4 of these I can send you
I bet
actually.
you- I was
That's why
scared. I was
you're-
scared like Tim because I was thinking I have 36% alcohol here. I'm gonna need a ride home, or I'm gonna get a tattoo. So I'll gladly send 2 beers to you guys.
Just don't sit on the thing back there. Pacific
thing?
Pump Company. You sit on
Oh.
it. There's your tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Tim's
That's it.
tattoo should be 3
Thing.
pounds
I
lighter.
love it. It's
Come
so
on,
cool.
Jim.
It's
Dang.
super cool.
Bang. So a friend of mine did that time for us. So we took obviously Grandpa's is taking over Pacific Pump, and so he makes signs, and then I did the woodworking behind it, and put that up my office, and keeps you motivated to have a beer every day.
You know, I mean,
I-
we would all love to have that in the background too. So I mean, just saying.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Devin has repurposed Grumpus crates and pallets into the furniture and structure of half of their office.
I honestly wish you could. Oh, who's that?
So,
I think the 9% has hit Jim.
I can't mute him.
Alexa, volume down.
Volume down.
Alexa, volume down. Hey, anybody at the FDAA that is listening to that, Jim Hyde, his address is Cumming, Georgia.
We do not own the rights to this music.
Alexa, stop.
Just kidding.
Oof.
You can just blame it on Alexa, right? That's a valid defense.
How many
She
times does
started
that
it without
happen,
telling me.
though? How many times does it happen where you're just talking to a customer or a friend, and all of a sudden Alexa will be like, "I didn't say that. What are you?" Or Alexa just starts talking, and you're like, "What the?"
Like, bitch, shut up.
I didn't know you were listening.
We can.
They're always listening.
Could we?
It's Jim's fault. This.
Could we cut that from the broadcast? The last little.
The
So
Jim's
we need
fault
one of
thing
those
would be
boards.
nice.
It's like,
No, the
Cut.
other thing.
like take 2.
Oh.
We need a restart.
Oh man, we'd never get through this.
Oh, not a restart at the beginning. We just need like a pause to get back on track again.
I mean, come on, Pete. Pete, you cocked it up right from the beginning. You're out of
I
order.
did.
We talked about this and
Wait, he what?
cocked it up.
Cocked it up, or
That's
That's
Canadian,
that
right?
must be a
Right,
that
We're
must
off the rails.
that must be a
Talking about,
that
like,
must
Sure,
a
that's,
male
that's
rooster.
Canadian, right?
That must be a saying up in
Canadian.
the.
It's a great
North.
north. It's like, hey,
Okay, this 8-9% is getting to you.
Yeah, that must be a saying in the Pacific Northwest. I hadn't really heard that one.
that's the
Hey, so
politically
what's the
correct
next beer?
Well,
Yeah.
we could. Tim is gonna. I think you're still broadcasting from the brewery, so we sort of.
Plan is yes to
I'll
broadcast
be,
from.
Tim,
from
I'll
No
be
Label.
there, by the way. So
That'd be great.
You're coming? You're
When are we
going?
talking about?
I'm going down there.
Nice.
What
When
day
are
are we talking about again?
Yeah, when are we doing this?
May.
It's the second Friday.
Let me check here real quick for you.
Yeah, I think that's what it
Mid-May.
was. Like the. I had, and not to put a kibosh on your date, Tim. We'll keep going with it, but I had a thought, especially going into summertime. Should we think about Thursday nights?
Why you say?
Because Friday nights are going to get harder as the summer goes on for me. And you can put up the "that's what she said" if you want to right now, Devin.
That's just on like one of those.
I'm
hot
glad
buttons for
it's
Devin.
working in your head though, so that's good.
So we
Yeah.
have currently, Tim, you're on May 21st.
Okay, so yeah, and it's.
And
I mean,
we can't change because I have airline tickets. So
No, that's fine. Leave
Nice.
that. But as we get into summer, I know from my end, it's going to get harder to book those Friday nights. We're usually heading to family or over the lake or something. So yes, thank you.
okay.
I threw a softball to you again, just in case, because you missed it. You were focused. But anyway, just a suggestion. We can take it offline another time, but consider it.
Okay, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie, I had a great time at the tap room, and No Label's been around for about 10 years now, and the El Jefe has been kind of their big name beer, right, for a long time, and during COVID, their head brewer quit, and they were like, you know what, let's just put it out there and see who we can find. So they basically were recruiting from all over the U.S. and they got a guy from San Diego. Like, yeah, I'll come in.
Perfect.
And so he's come in and they basically said you can do whatever you want, just don't touch the El Jefe.
What kind of beer is the El Jefe? Like a lager?
It's a wheat, Jimmy. Come on, where's your Spanish?
come on, Jimmy. So wait a
A
minute,
wheat.
Tim. You
Yeah.
can't.
It's a vice.
Great week though.
Jimmy, you're like Batman.
Why?
You are our beer Batman. When I say, hey, so just play dumb when you don't know something and you don't know where it's at.
Wow.
Because every brewery.
The problem is
Oh,
he
you
doesn't
said
know.
Jim.
He doesn't know the
Oh, I thought you
week,
said-
the
okay.
heavy
Okay, I
one
was-
is
I
too
was-
light for him. That's not.
I was
that's
very
not how it
confused.
works.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Tim, you're Robin.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
You got the
man.
tights, yeah. You only got half the
Damn
tools
it.
out. And it's like you don't get all the cool tools.
All right, so
Jim, for our audience, if
there's
you
there's a whole
at,
there's a whole nother Saturday Night Live skit that Jim and I can do now if we're referencing Batman and Robin. But anyway,
Okay, spandex
so
included or not?
yeah,
I'm just asking.
yeah, and like a weirdly shaped car. But anyways, so
Just car.
their new their new head brewery is awesome, and he's coming. His first beer that he basically brought in and created himself is called this Cali Boy West Coast IPA,
Nice.
and it is awesome. Like it's really good. And
Smart
that
man
was
right
when-
off the bat.
Please
that
send
was
that.
that was when they were like, hey, this was we picked the right guy, but he's gone in and he's kind of tweaked some of their other recipes, and they've got I think like 30 something beers on tap now. But they've got
And they are
I mean,
canning?
oh yeah, they were
They've
like
always
we
canned.
can can
Yeah.
and send out whatever you want. But man, it was, I'm not gonna lie, from what I remember of No Label in the past versus like what we tried there, like everything was good, including the Hipster Apocalypse, which was 13 something percent.
Brilliant.
wow.
It was a little out of control.
That one is a bit of a problem. Yeah.
It was a problem for the outro and the intro. I'm not gonna lie.
All of that.
It caused me some problems during the podcast, but
You had
But
that
they've
before
had
the
that for a
intro?
while, though. They've had that for a while, haven't they?
Oh,
yeah.
I love that
So-
place. That makes
I've
my
been
heart
there.
happy looking at that.
so we were,
Yes.
yeah, we
Where's
were.
the hot
we
dog
were-
vendor?
So there, it's off screen, off to the right. But there, what's really cool about the
you can
the
still
branding,
see it on the corner like this.
Dude,
yeah,
can you guys appreciate this? So my office, you guys are giving me crap about all the
crates.
repurposed crates, and so my desk, if I
those
could show you,
tables are
all-
made out of pallets. Yeah,
Well,
see that.
obviously, so our entire Portland training lab is repurposed ground plus crates, and our entire my office that I'm standing at right now is a repurposed desk. This is awesome. You look at this, just a pallet.
Well,
Right.
this must
That
be a
is-
summertime picture because when I go to No Label, it's usually like in February.
It's
When I'm
rainy
down
and cold. And
Well, no,
drizzly.
it's still nice. It's sunny.
Still
And
looks
I'll
like
go to the
this.
factory. It still looks like this. No, there's like 3 tables and 1 picnic table, like that. And I'm
That's
the
the new
only guy
COVID.
sitting there. And
Really?
and usually I bring my computer. I'll like get out. I'll leave.
Yeah.
The factory, and because my hotel's right across the highway. So I'll go right here first. I'll finish emails, have a couple of beers, and then get a Whataburger for dinner. It's
What do you-
it's
what do
life
you
is
say?
good.
Now
There's
we're
a
talking.
Whataburger across the
Boom.
street.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So
Now
I
we're
have
talking.
done that too, but not with
Pete, I was talking to Kirk the other night. Isn't Torchy's tacos like a Texas thing?
Yes, it
Torchy's
is.
is actually
Yeah.
that's bad. Torchy's would be if there was a Torchy's right there by the hotel instead of Whataburger. I'd probably go to
there,
Torchy's.
There is.
there is
No,
now.
it's over
there is
in-
now.
oh, there is
it's
now?
It's a little closer in, but it's pretty close.
So there's
All right.
there's a couple. There's one right there, and then there's
You have
one
to
in
go to
Cinco
that
Ranch.
other Cinco Ranch. That's where I
Yeah.
usually go.
But then there's the
Torchy's is
beer
awesome.
place there, whatever, the Beer World or World of Beers or
World of
something
Beer.
like that.
There,
Yeah.
World of Beers. Yeah, that's in kind of that whole
Whatever the Cinco Ranch area
mixed
is.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Regatta, or I forget what they call it. But yeah,
I
it's a,
spent too many days down there.
you got
So Kirk said they opened one in
Bernie's,
they
Burger
opened one
Bus,
in
and all that.
Olathe,
That's it. That's the one.
Oh,
Damn it.
Torchy's
Damn
is
good
the freaking best.
but they
No,
opened one in
so-
Olathe.
No, but hold on. The
Kansas.
Torchy's thing, I love that. They're an interesting place because so you go in and you order from the menu.
They have.
It's okay. They got the
They got a
secret,
secret
menu.
menu. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you walk. You
Looks
just
like your
this is
menu is
not the
really
secret
bad.
menu, man. And it's ridiculous because the secret menu is like, okay, your taco on top of like a torta or something, like a
They
fried
have a
something.
secret menu.
They do.
Wow.
Just go ask for the secret menu, and they're like, okay, fine.
Like they're upset that you know it.
And there's good beers there usually, and the margaritas are good too.
Oh, we have a good customer that shares out in New York City that sells boosters to high rises. And I'll leave it at that because we have like 2 listeners on. And they're one of their principals is a big tequila fan. And so these are New York City guys. They like a certain level of dining and other experiences. And we took him to Torchy's one night because when people tell me what we're doing, it's going to involve craft beer and the tacos are high on the list. So we went to Torchy's. They were a little shocked that they were ordering cafeteria style, but I gave them a little guidance. They liked the menu, but the tequila selection blew them away. And
Yes.
we drank way too much tequila that particular night, and it was dicey getting home, for sure. But Torchy's is a fun time.
But you took Uber, so wasn't that?
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
Yeah, you
We
got
did.
to.
Well, you got to walk out in the parking lot. You got to find the right
Oh
Uber.
yeah,
I mean,
you're
it's
dodging
trouble.
like the fake Ubers and all that. Shit.
Yes, exactly.
So guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. So Tim, give us what you got next time, and we'll stop the recording.
Well, before we do that, I think we got to give Jim a chance to kind of wrap the
fantastic.
the 2 beers for today. I think you did a great job picking these.
Well done.
Jim,
Well done.
what
Thank
do you
you.
got for us to close it out, buddy?
Thank you. I'm most proud that Pete is. I think I've enlightened Pete because
I
that's
love Cherry
tough-
Street.
I
You've
love
got
it.
one good brewery.
It's not true.
Oh wow!
Good enough.
Wow.
Good enough.
Wow. All
That's
it's
all you
hard
need.
is there's one good brewery. Hey Pete, good luck getting home.
Yeah.
The doghouse is way
I love
down there.
Georgia. I mean, I absolutely love. We're looking for we got friends, houses, all that kind of stuff. Love
No,
Georgia.
but I want to thank Cherry Street.
Georgia.
I do want to thank Cherry Street for making really good beer and putting us on the map. And I'll be back to you guys. Good stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, this was
Cheers,
it was
fellas.
great, man. Cheers, fellas. Jim, like I said, I had I don't know if low expectations is the right word, but I was nervous about trying.
I sensed that you were more nervous with the percent of alcohol.
Yeah, and just when I see, hey, 8-9% double IPA, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna taste like it just mowed the grass. But you know what? These were really good, and I would go to Cherry Street and I would order these beers and enjoy them. So I appreciate you kind of opening my eyes.
Mission accomplished.
And introducing me to something new today. So I definitely appreciate that.
From the Modelo guy.
From my end, I love the story, Jim, about the changing of the hop. So whether it's dry hop or wet hop, that's new to me.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that, and thanks for that. These are fantastic. They go on the list, and so I'll be hitting you up for more.
A package.
I like.
FedEx will deliver.
And Devin, I still owe you a University of South Carolina baseball shirt.
Yeah. Just send the beer. It will be good. We'll be all right with that.
I was thoroughly impressed with the Georgia history. That was great. Thank you for that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tell you
and the beer was great too. Don't worry.
One other random thing, because I see a lot of squirrels in my life. So Cumming itself is about, 7,000 people. So you're like, man, that's small. But one of the things I noticed when I moved here in 1998, it's so spread out. It's like, Boston. I lived in Boston. I went to school in Boston, and you could walk from one side of the city to the other, and it was great. Georgia's 6.8 million people, I think, or 5.9 or something like that. But it's sprawled out. It like my sister lives like
to Tim. Gee.
Yeah, it's like Houston. It's my sister lives like 10 miles away, but because of traffic, it takes hour and a half. It's just sprawled out, but it's different. It's a different kind of city than we're used to in the Northeast. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
No, I will tell you. So you guys all know my son. We went down there on a trip for baseball, and it was amazing to be able to travel around to Morehead State, to Savannah, and we did the loop in. The one thing he said, "Dad, don't stop in Macon, Georgia, because all of the apocalypse starts in Macon, Georgia. When all the video games, they always start in Macon, Georgia. So, but
that's the Walking Dead.
But the loop, we looked at Georgia Tech, Emory, the fantastic universities and the culture that are down there, and it's really accessible within a day's travel. Which is unusual for a state. I know in Washington, growing up here and living here my whole life, we used to be able to do a day's travel to get to places, and now we have to plan it. We have to make sure that we're at the right time, and same with California and New York, obviously in Texas. But so that is phenomenal state. Love the area, and
the cost of living, like the amount of house you could get here compared to most areas, is incredible.
Yeah. So
great.
Jim, just say well done. Well done. Fantastic.
Cheers, sir.
Go Georgia. Go Cherry Street Brewing.
Yeah.
Go Georgia, as long as we're not talking football and baseball.
Agreed. Could we agree on one thing? Go Dogs.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I can't agree on that one.
Husky dogs and Georgia dogs. And
you got a little something that's preventing me from saying go Dogs here. So. But definitely excited for next month. Setting up a no label, getting those guys involved, and I don't know shit about beer, so they're going to be the ones talking about it. I'll just be the one drinking it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Looking forward to
it. Can't wait.
Okay, I'm totally empty.
Pete,
Well,
you're the acting president here now, so close us out, and we'll close this brewery and just end the podcast.
First of all, I want to thank all of our viewers, particularly Chris Ireland is now our most active viewer, and we hope he's continues to join us to provide. Sorry, Tanner. Shit, I figured Tanner left once he saw we had another viewer.
I'm pretty sure that Tanner's a plant. He's a paid viewer. It's fine.
Yeah, he is.
That's okay. Well, we need those.
Tanner's our original. Tanner, you're always
Tanner
the
is
original.
original.
He's the OG.
The OG. But yes, thanks to them. And but no, Jim, great. You know, you nobody's going to ever know how much work Jim put into this thing, but it is much appreciated. And
Hey, that's okay.
Tim's going to produce a show on site at a brewery, you know, moving equipment, all his professional level, you know, headsets and everything. And Jim still would have done more work for this particular episode. So cheers to you, Jim. And so thanks everybody. I love it. I can't wait till May.
Hey, the one thing I'll finish with, Pete, congratulations everybody. You know, this group of guys is founded on being a good dude. You guys are all good dudes, and everybody, both of you guys that are listening, we are functioning on everything that's going out in the world is challenges right now. And so be a good dude, be a good person, and just reach out to your neighbor. Make sure that you contact your neighbor, make sure they're doing okay, and you know, have a beer with them, and good stuff. So
and we're going to end your dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Get off my payroll.
Wait till it happens the other way. Hold on.
Yeah,
Wait till it happens the other way.
I know. So we're going to end the broadcast.
Alexa, play Pearl Jam.